Okay, here we go. Look, this was my first Space Marine. I've already painted like 16 minis total, and I wanted to talk about my first 10 minis because you guys got me into this. I wanted to make a video basically just saying, you know, like why I got into it or whatever, and kind of, I don't know, I guess like as a new painter, as a new builder, kind of like give my insight. I guess my opinion rather. So anyway, this was my first one. So I kind of didn't know what I was doing. There's a little bit of scuff right here, you know. This is my first one. It's not bad. It's not that bad. It's not bad. You can't see the Ultramarine sign here, but it's pretty bad. What I did to paint this was I primed it. I don't even know if I dry brushed it. I think I did. I think I dry brushed it with white. Okay, so here he is. Here's the Space Marine. Now you can see it's a Colt Marine. You thought I was dry brushing this one using wet paint. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, so I tried to dry brush, but apparently the paint was like super fucking wet. But some things but I think I did a pretty good job on the chest, and I think his mask is okay. I think overall this guy was okay. I mean, he's not a Cheeto Marine. Yeah, I think he's fine. All right, so that was my first one. Okay, now here's my second one. And I got a lot better, all right? I got a lot better on the second one. Ooh, this is a salamander, boys. Man, I love the salamanders. So here he is. So I tried to be a little more precise with this one, and I tried to use a little bit more colors, and I also added blood to the thing right here. So like basically I was just trying to like take everything I did from the first one and try to do it better on this one. You know what I mean? So like obviously there's some issues with like, you know, this circle. The circle right here is not the best, you know, that type of stuff. But I did a shade. Yeah, so this one I feel like was a bit better than this one. I think they're both okay though. I was really happy with this one because of the colors. I think the colors are better. I also made this green, by the way. This green I didn't have at the time, so I made it. Okay, so that was my second one. So then here's my third one. Okay, so for this guy, what I was trying to do was I was trying to be like more precise, but in addition to being more precise, I was also trying to give it like a weathered look. So like I was trying to make it like, I don't know, dirty and weathered, you know, so that's why it's kind of, so I used some agrax. I tried to create that effect. If I was going to create that effect again, I would do it slightly differently. Basically, it kind of pooled right here, which I didn't know it could do. So basically, I would just like dumb it down, kind of. So like I think I did the backpack pretty well, but like right in here, the areas have pooled a little bit too much. Yeah, but I think the mask is pretty good, and also the cross on this one is way fucking better than the cross on this one. Like, dude, look at this shit. Like, this one actually looks not bad. You know, this is obviously like kind of bad. This is quite a bit better, I feel. But yeah, I really liked painting this guy, man. Basically, I experimented a lot more with Earthshade. And this chest, if I could go back, I would redo this chest actually gold instead of black. But at the time, I only had like 4 different paints. So I was trying to do like, I think this faction is like the White Knights or something. I'm not exactly sure. But I tried to basically use a different faction of a different color. Yeah, anyway, so this was my third one. So I also like tried to do this again. So I think I did an okay job there. And yeah, I tried to do this weathered effect. Yeah, this was a starter pack. So the starter pack that I bought, it was like called the Intercessors Marines. And it came with these 3. It came with blue, gold, white, and black paint. So then, after painting 3 Space Marines, I wanted to paint something else. So like if you look at a Space Marine, right? Almost all of the type of material that's on a Space Marine is metal or metallic of some sort, right? Like the gun, the sword, the armor, all this shit, right? So I wanted to paint something different. So I painted this guy. This guy had a lot of different textures. And one thing that I really, really, really wanted to do was I wanted to get better at shading. And I also wanted to get better on precision. So what I did was I started this gold trim. That was like part of my, like, I guess, precision training or whatever. And then I also used a contrast paint. So basically I did a little bit of layering too. So I did like red and then a contrast on top of the red. And then I threw a shader on it too as well. And I really wanted to make it, I really wanted to work on my shadows and stuff. Because with the Space Marines, I didn't really get a chance to. Not that I couldn't on a Space Marine, but it just, I didn't like know any better. You know what I mean? So I tried to pay special attention to his hood and stuff. There's also like this thing here. This is like the CBS receipt or whatever, you know, like the prayer or the purity seal or something, some shit like that. Yeah. And I put blood on. the chainsaw again. And then after this, I wanted to try a gradient. So I wanted to try like going from one color into another. So I tried with this guy. I tried to go from purple into red, but I wanted the very top part to be darker than like the middle part. And I also wanted this front part to be like a different article of clothing, like, or a different material type. So I think I did decent. This paint right here is also different paint than up here. And this paint down here, this was my first time trying to do any type of blending technique. So like when I did this, I wasn't familiar with stippling or feathering or layering or anything like that. I just basically took the two. So I took like this dark purple and I took this red. And I put the dark purple down here and I took the red up here. And then I took 50% purple, 50% red, and then I put it in the middle. And then I put like 75% red and 25% purple in between that. And then I did the same, the 75% purple, 25% red right here. And then I just tried to blend the colors all together. So at the time, I didn't really do the staff as well as I could have. I mean, I think it's okay, but I could have done the staff like quite a bit better. But at the time, I just didn't. I was basically focusing on this technique and not really this, I guess. This was my 5th model. Basically, when I started, I was trying to absorb as much information as I could, you know, but there's so much information when it comes to painting that it's like overwhelming. You know what I mean? It's like really overwhelming. So like on this guy, my main focus was the gradient. I really tried to focus on the gradient in addition to keeping all the other stuff, like the precision with the, like this pauldron here is much better than the pauldrons on my Space Marine because like my hand was steadier, you know, all that shit. So here he is. I wanted to make some type of like glowing effect with the staff, but I think I did okay. I put like the silver and gold, but my favorite things about this guy were definitely right here, the gradient. And then also I like doing this skull. This was, I painted this skull white and then I used Agrex on it and I was happy about that. And then I really like this. This is probably honestly my favorite color, or one of my favorite colors is this gold. It's like Bachman's gold or some shit. I can't remember the name of it, but it's really good. But like, if you look here at the pauldron, like the pauldron on this is like much better than say like that. You know what I mean? So I was really happy with this guy. Okay, now, I actually did a Death Guard. This was my very first Death Guard. And I feel like what I wanted to do with this guy was I kind of wanted to try to create a glow effect. But I also wanted to make like this guy's armor like look better than my Space Marines. And I'd also never really painted any like fleshy type of stuff before. This guy was very, very hard for me to paint because of all these little tiny areas that I had to go into. I had never had to do that before. This guy was pretty fun though. So I basically just wanted to make this like neon green. And this is my like, I don't know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do you guys like this guy? So there's a tentacle here, and I tried to do the same thing with the tentacle as I did with the guy on the cloak. And right here, this is my bad attempt at OSL, which is like one source lighting or something. It's basically a glow effect, right? So I wanted to make this glow. So I could have done this glow better. And I tried to make it green right here to be reflecting off right here, which I think I did okay. And then right here, and then there's also some green right here as well. So originally, I was actually thinking about making the tank like half full, but I tried to do it and it just looked weird. So I just decided to color the whole thing because I'd never had to do like a half tank. I've never had to paint liquid before. Here he is. And then he has like quite a few, I don't know, little tiny minuscule details that you have to like get into, man, and you have to like go through other objects to get to them. I try my best to create like some type of glow effect, right? So that's why like there's green on the skull. Basically for this guy, what I really wanted to do was, in addition to his armor and everything I'd done on the previous ones, I wanted to focus on a glow effect. So I think I did okay. I mean, obviously it could be way better, but I think I did okay. This guy turned out pretty decent. Okay, now the next guy was this guy. Okay, now this guy is a part of the Inquisition pack. The one thing that I really wanted to do was the glow. I wanted to work on the glow again. Now, I think the model itself, like all the colors and stuff, I think they turned out really well. I like these different hoses right here. And then also this tattoo was like kind of hard to do. I like the gold next to the red, next to the black. The only problem I had was I didn't really create like a glow effect. I don't think it looks like shit because it's not Cheeto, but it also kind of doesn't, I mean, it doesn't really look like a glow either. So I've struggled to create glows. Like up to this point, I've been struggling to create glows. Like I tried a different attempt, or sorry, a different technique on this guy than I did on my other guy. I think the glow on my other guy turned out better, but I think the only reason why it turned out better was because of the color. The colors that I have for green are much brighter and more glowier than red, for instance. So after this guy, I did a little bit more practice. I practiced some more glows. Now this one looks kind of bad. So I did a different technique, and this one looks much better. This one looks much better. So over the course of like, I want to say 3 models, or well, really 2 models. So really over the course of like 2 models, I think I improved my glow effect. Here's a green one. It looks, you know, not the best, but then this one looks pretty good, you know. This one looks pretty decent. And I also wanted to try the green against the silver versus a black, because a black is just naturally going to look better, whereas the silver you have to try harder. For those of you that were on the stream when I was trying to get this guy, and I was really struggling with this glow, man, you guys said a lot of nice stuff, and I really appreciate it. And I went out like the very next day. I bought a pack. You can see like the difference here, right? Like this one is much better than this one. So like I tried really hard, man. To get the glow effect to work. But then, after I did that, I was very confident in my glow effect. And then I did the Necron. Now, the Necron, this was one of my favorite things to paint. I fucking loved painting this Necron, man. I loved painting the metal. I loved painting the glows. I think I took all the stuff I had from my previous attempts at painting the glows, and I think I've made it better. This is before I learned about feathering okay, so keep in mind, when I did these glows were 2 layers. There were only 2 layers, which is not the best way to make a glow, but this is my 8th model, okay? This model, I learned a lot. I learned a lot more about glows, and I also learned a little bit more about gradients as well. And more importantly, another thing that I learned was I learned how to basically, you see these edges here, these recesses. I basically learned how to, there's like a trick you can do if you add a lot of water to the paintbrush. And that trick is when you add a lot of water to the paintbrush and you barely touch like a recess, what that'll do is that will push the water into the recess, and the water will flow all throughout the recess. Basically, when I did, okay, so like right here, for example, I would touch like this part of the line, and because there was so much water in my paintbrush, it would flow all right here, and it would flow all around here. So I didn't actually paint inside of these lines, if that makes any sense. I basically used the water to flow into these recesses. This Necron taught me a lot because it taught me that technique, and it also taught me about how to enhance the glows even more. So like basically what I did was I took white, and instead of only 2 layers, I added 3 layers. So these glows right here I think are better than the other one. These glows could still be better, but for me they were an improvement over the last ones. So I really like this tube here, and then this sword could have a better gradient, but at the time I wasn't familiar with the techniques of stippling and feathering. For those of you that don't know, feathering is like when you have like color, and you take a dry brush and you go like this with the color. So you have like your solid color here, your solid color here, and then you basically take the color from here and you feather it like this, and eventually from here to here, it's going to create a gradient. I wasn't familiar with those techniques at the time. But here's this guy, and I think this guy turned out pretty well. I even painted the bottom of him. You can't see it. You probably can't see it, but I did paint the fucking bottom of it. But I was really happy with this guy, and I would like to paint more Necrons in the future because this guy's cool. So this is one gun that we could choose from. Here's the other gun that we could have done. Now, I feel like the glow effect on this is like much better than the other one. I think I actually did a pretty good job on the actual plasma cores or whatever the fuck these things are called. I think that the glow effect is pretty solid there. Also, in these packs I think are pretty decent. Yeah, but I like this weapon too. But I feel like, chat, I let you guys pick what weapon to put in, and you guys pick this one. I think this is more, like a more common, like Necron weapon or something. I don't know, but people also like the dagger here or the blade here too. So I was really happy with this guy. Okay, so now at this point in time, I tried to work on glows. I tried to work on precision. Now I need to work on my gradient, like even better than, even before. So what I did, I bought some tentacles. I worked on my gradient. Kind of ignore this one because this one was just a test. But like this is all dry brush. This one is feathering. I basically feathered this one. So it goes from like a yellow to a neon green to a green to a darker green. So I was really happy with the feathering on this one. I think that looks pretty decent. And then I also did these two. So here's the purple one. I wanted to go from blue to purple, which I think I did a pretty good job of. And then on this one, just to get crazy, I wanted to go from red to yellow. So like I typically wouldn't do like a red yellow tentacle, but I wanted to just like test the gradient and test the feathering technique. So after I did those, I did this fucking guy. Now, this was my 9th model. Okay, this was my 9th model. I knew that my 10th model was going to be the Great Unclean One. And the Great Unclean One, he has very similar skin to this guy. So I wanted to practice like creating like, I don't know, zits and pustules and rotten teeth and scabs and scars. And I wanted to basically practice on some nasty shit. And I also wanted to practice on my gradient. And I think that I did a pretty decent job with this. I needed to go back in and color all of these little dots with like orange and zits and shit. I just forgot. But I think the gradient itself is pretty smooth. Like in a majority of tentacles, I think it's pretty smooth. Like right here could have been a little better. There's some parts that it could have been a little better. But I think overall I did pretty decent. Like this was done with so with this particular technique, I did layering. I think in some cases I should have done feathering. Like right here, I should have done some feathering. This could have been a little better. Like maybe right here could have been a little better. But basically these tentacles took me for fucking ever to do because I did it with shades. What is a gradient? A gradient is when you go from like one color to the next and you want to try to make the transition of the color as seamless as possible. Like let's say you have like blue on one side and like red on the other side. Well, somewhere in the middle, you're going to have like some type of purple. Yeah, so basically for this, I wanted to just make this guy, I wanted to try to make this guy as nasty as possible. And up until this point, I've never painted tentacles before. I've never painted like nasty skin like this. And I've never had to paint any type of wound or a mouth and a stomach for that matter. Yeah, so this is him. The colors on stream seem a little different with the camera here, but oh, there we go. Oh wow, that's so much fucking better. Holy shit. Okay, wow, that's like so much better. Okay, Jesus Christ. Oh, I've never painted like horns or antlers before either, but I think overall the tentacle hair seem pretty good. But yeah, I was really happy with this. His like underbelly or whatever is like a slightly different shade of green than his. Yeah, he's got some nasty shit. I actually painted him entirely before I put him on the base. But yeah, so this was my 9th one, and I wanted to practice on this guy before I practiced the Unclean One. Now, this was my 10th. This guy is one reason why I wanted to get into painting. I just think he's really fucking cool, and there's so many different colors and variables to him, or like just so much different shit. I was really, when I saw this guy on the box art, I was like, holy shit, man, if I'm ever able to paint a guy like this, I'll be fucking happy, man. So I think I did a pretty good job. This guy took me like 30 hours, I think. Right here, this is the best cloak that I had ever done to this point. This was done with both feathering and stippling, no layering. I think I improved a lot on the wounds. I did a different technique on every single one of these wounds. On every single one of these wounds, I first colored it with a bright Mephiston red. Then I went back in with a contrast like flesh terror red. And then I went back in again and I highlighted it. I highlighted it with a purple, and then I highlighted it with a pink on every single one of these wounds. And then the bell was just a lot of agrax because I wanted it to be like kind of a nasty, rotten bell, you know? Okay, so the horns here, I did a different technique as well. I painted them all off-white at first. Oh, that's another thing. This guy didn't start off this color, so he started off this color. I think this is a good green, but I didn't like how it clashes with right here. Looking back on it, I think I could have kept it this color because unclean ones are this color. But what I would have needed to do, I think, is I would have needed to go in and do like 2 or 3 highlights next to these blue areas, because these blue areas are really bright and it's next to this like dark green, and especially on the hood. The hood is like very, very bright and colorful, and next to this dark green, to me, it just doesn't like pop as more. You like this green more? There are some other people that did like the green more, yeah. So I do like this color green. I don't think it looks as good next to this particular color. Like, so let's say I would have done the hood more of a darker red. Let's say I would have done the hood this color. I would have kept him this green. Or let's say that I would have done the tentacles more of like a red or a purple or something. Then I would have kept it this color probably. But I like this color. I originally wanted to go with this color. But then I saw it next to the blue and I was like, nah, I got to lighten it up, man. I got to lighten it up because it just, for lack of a better way to say it, it didn't make these areas like, I guess, pop as much. I don't know. Anyway, this is probably one of my favorite faces that I've ever done. And the reason why I like this face so much, man, is because it's just so fucking disgusting. I had an idea where, so like you guys see those old zombie movies, right? You'll have a zombie and it's like, it has like dead skin, but then on top of the dead skin, there's like decaying skin that's just like falling off. That's what I wanted to try to do. So that's what this like nasty fucking green is. And this is actually another reason why I repainted him, because if I would have kept him this color, I couldn't have done this with his face. But yeah, I was really happy with this face. And then these are just a bunch of maggots that are falling. Dude, this guy's nasty. But his horns, I did a different technique on the horns from the Beast of Nurgle. So on these horns, I painted the whole horn like white. It was like off-white. Then I painted the top gold. And then instead of doing a gradient technique, I just Agrax Earthshade the shit out of the whole thing, and it turned into this like nasty, rotten brown. So I wanted to try, one of the things I wanted to do was try to make the toe gross, dude. And that's that's what I painted on the toe, bro. Dude, look at this thing. Look at that. I think that's a pretty nasty looking toe, man. I think that's pretty gross, man. Yeah, basically what I did was I just took white and I put Agrax Earthshade on it. Yeah, so that was what I did with the horns. The cloak, or the hood rather, was the only thing I don't like about this hood is that it's a square at the end instead of a point, like a pointy. Yeah, so I basically just did a combination of stippling and feathering. I was really happy with this face too. So like you can kind of see basically like right here is a pink highlight. So I went in and I got all these pink highlights, and like right here is like a more purplish, very subtle purple highlight. I went back in, I did all that, and then these tentacles were feathered, but I think they came out really well. And also these nasty pus sores, like I've never had to do this before. I just tried to make it look disgusting. So like for these, I colored them all red first, then I went back in with a contrast paint, and then I went back in again with an orange, and then a yellow, then I went back in with an orange, and then I made like this white nasty center. And then all of these little like these nasty pustule things are just, they're just basically orange. Some of them have like a dot on them. I tried to go in here with some shade, and I think it turned out okay. I think in some parts the shade was too much. Like right here could probably be, it needed to be cut down a little bit, but like right here was pretty good. Right here was pretty good. There are some parts like right here and right here were pretty decent, but like there's some stuff I could have went back and cleaned up a little bit. But right here on the cloth, this was also stippled. This was stippling as well, and then I went back in with some highlights right here, and then I used a shader on these to make them look like rusted, like copper. Ugh. This guy's gross, man. Yeah, I had to go in and color like every single one of these. Yeah, I think this guy, I think this guy turned out pretty good, man. I was really happy with him, and that was my 10th. That was my 10th model. I still haven't put a base on him, man. I still haven't put a base on him. Yeah, but here he is, man. Big fan of the gradient. Think I got a good gradient here. This is all feathered again. Then this is stippled with feathering and highlights right here. Highlights on the back here. And then, oh, there's maggots. There's maggots in this wound. Yeah, I was really happy with this guy, man. I put a bunch of agrax right here just because to show, like, I don't know, like filth or like maybe some of the, I don't know, the fluid inside dripped out or something. It's fucking nasty, dude. Yeah. And then I wanted to make his teeth different colors. And apparently this is supposed to be saliva, but I just made it blood because whatever. You know how when someone like vomits uncontrollably and shit, and they have all this like nasty bile around their mouth? That's what this is the effect I tried to create. I tried to create a bile effect. Yeah. Oh, here. Oh, there it is, dude. There it is, bro. There's the toe. There's the toe, dude. Oh man, yeah. And then like here's some wounds. You can see in the wound. I went back with like a pink and a purple, and there's this nipple. I wanted to make his nipple gross, so I made it pink and dark green. There's more maggots in that wound. So this is my 10th one, man. This is my 10th one. So I was really happy with this guy. If I were ever to do another great unclean one, I would do some stuff differently. But overall, yeah, I was really happy with this, man. Took me a while. There's some stuff that I did miss as well, but overall, yeah, I was really happy with this guy. So anyway, so those are my 10, man. Those are my first 10. I absolutely love painting. I'm going to keep doing it. Like, I'm actually going to take my paints to Florida with me, or I'm going to try to. So these are some other ones that I did. These are like, I'll just show you. I didn't take pictures of all of them. Basically, so I mentioned that, that I bought an Inquisitorial Agents pack. And the Inquisitorial Agents pack was where like this guy came from. So this guy came in a pack of 5. This was my 11th one right here. Now, I didn't take a picture of him and post it, but this guy's really fucking cool, man. I very much enjoyed painting this guy. On this guy, I wanted to focus on my gradient, which I did. Very subtle purple into red. I wanted to paint parchment, which I think this turned out pretty decent. I even went as far as to paint like, see those wires in his fucking head, man? Yeah. And then I did the flame. I think the flame came out okay. Yeah, this guy was pretty cool. I don't even know what this guy does in the game, but this guy was pretty sick. So like whoever this guy is, he had the unfortunate series of events that they actually cut the top of his head off and put on a metal plate for a scalp. There's nothing like too crazy like special about this guy, but I think overall I did pretty good because the precision is pretty nice. Like there's not very many like, I don't know, Cheeto areas, and like this samurai armor was kind of cool, or at least I thought it was like samurai armor. So I kept like his shirt kind of like a darker tone while keeping the armor pieces bright. This guy's pretty cool. And then I did, to finish up the Inquisitor pack, I did this guy. Yeah, I just wanted to do a normal like cloak with a gold trim. And then I worked on the fire a little bit more. And then he has a book. This book is pretty cool. This book was kind of fun to do because I kind of made the pages inside look a little old. And also, man, that eye patch, man, was hard to do, man. Holy shit, that's so tiny. I tried to make the browns look like leather. I don't know if they actually do or not, but I mean, to me, they do. This guy also came with this, and this is pretty cool. It's a servo skull. This servo skull was pretty cool. And then I did this one. This one I did take a picture of the other day. That's a Blight Storm Terminator. This guy was really, really, really fun to paint, man. I just tried to work on my gradient more with the tentacle here. You know, I don't even know what the fuck this is. It's just a disarray of madness and organs and shit, man. The thing that most excited me about this guy was this. I don't know what weapon this is, but this weapon is absolutely phenomenal. I'm a big fan of color gradients. Well, it's like a flail. Yeah, so it is a flail, but I don't know if that's supposed to be like pure fire or like spirit fire. I don't know what it is, man, but painting this was really cool, man. It was really fun. This guy took me a little while to paint because of all the different textures and gradients that I had to do. So I had to do like one right here, a whole bunch right here. I had to do one on this little tentacle here. Then there's another tentacle right here. Like it goes from red all the way up to like light pink. So it's like red or like dark red into red, purple, into violet or some shit. There's more like tentacles and stuff here. My particular, like I don't really have a style of painting yet because I haven't even been painting a month. I've only been painting for 3 weeks. But the stuff that I like to do is I like to make it look more realistic instead of like adding just a bunch of highlights. I think like making stuff cartoony, I think looks good. I think it looks good, but I'm more of a fan of like the realistic type look. So I didn't add very many highlights at all to him because if he were to have a whole bunch of highlights, it would take away from this like nasty grainy effect, I guess, or this like nasty rusted effect. If this was a different Space Marine, I probably would have. But for Death Guard, I feel like Death Guard, they're gross. You know what I mean? And then earlier, I said that this guy's staff could have been better. What I meant was that it could have looked like that. Basically, what I did to create this is I painted this all Abaddon black, and then I just dry brushed silver onto it, which I think turned out really well. I tried to make his eyes not necessarily like a super glow, but I tried to make his eyes pretty bright. It sucks because this horn created this shadow right here. I tried to take a picture of it without the shadow, but it was really, really hard. I think this guy came out really well, man. I like Death Guard a lot. They're one of my favorite factions. They're my favorite Chaos faction, man. I fucking love Death Guard. But I also love Chaos Space Marines, too. So then, this takes us up to my latest model. I just did this yesterday. Man, this guy, these possessed Chaos Space Marines are like metal as fuck, dude. These guys are so cool, man. This guy has a ton of different textures. I tried to make this eye glow, which I think I did a pretty decent job. If you were to compare this glow from my first glow, for instance, like this glow, I think there's a huge improvement, man. Yeah, but I had a lot of fun painting this guy, man. I did something different with his horns. Instead of painting his horns brown, I just used a bunch of agrax, which I kind of like the effect. I like it better on some horns, so I like it better on this one than I do this one, for example. I think this one turned out the best, probably. His arm right here, I did a different technique. I did a glazing blend instead of stippling or feathering. I painted the entire thing a flesh color, and then I went over it with a glaze of this purple right here, and then I went over it again with another glaze of the flesh color. Created this interesting thing where like because a glaze is like kind of see-through, it created this part where like the dips in the muscles and shit, I guess, showed through more. Anyway, I like the effect a lot. If I did this again, I would add probably feathering to it and maybe a little bit of stippling, but yeah, this guy was pretty cool. And then I did a bunch of edge highlights with the gold. And then I also did a light edge highlight of blue on some of these parts. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I was a huge fan of this this claw right here. I did the same thing to the claw, I did the same thing to the claw as I did to this. And also this nasty fucking, I don't even know what these are, man. They're like hands or something. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think I'm getting better at the glows, though. I kind of just wanted to, you guys got me into this, man, and I'm like addicted now. So I wanted to talk about it, man, and like just kind of talk about the things that I've learned and stuff, man. Like I still got a lot to improve on, but I'm just, it's a fucking process, man. Trying to get my techniques down and stuff too. I just wanted to talk about this today because I meant to make this video like a while ago, but I just kept painting. Yeah, anyway, I've been having a lot of fun painting. I love painting. I'm really glad you guys got me into this, man. One day, I will paint Mortarion one day. I bought him. I'm going to paint him. But that's later. I'm going to paint him when I feel comfortable. I can tell you this. Everything on him I have already done, except for wings. Like fleshy, weird wings. I've never done that before. So I would need to practice that. But yeah, one day, maybe in the future, man, if I paint another big piece, I'll probably just do like a short video on that particular piece. I guess just to kind of like, you know, go over my thoughts and stuff, man. So anyway, that's it for the vid. Thanks for watching. I love 40k. Yay!